So we have a live Q&A with Dr. Christy Kane. She's going to answer your questions on prevent, stabilize, and empower, returning to life after the pandemic. So I'm going to send her an invite, and then what we're going to do is she did have a patient emergency, and that's why she couldn't attend the last one, scheduled for a half hour ago, but that's no big deal. Dr. Kane, you're on. It's great
Hello,
to
how
see.
are you?
Good. I know you had a patient emergency and I informed everybody, and they're super excited to be able to have you on because we have some pre-listed questions. So, but
Great.
furthermore, let's you can tell us where you're from. We love to see those little heart things go by. And you can also follow Dr. Christy Kane, and she, posts every day, and her content is amazing. So if any of you are not following her, she is a clinical psychologist, and she practices in Utah, but she also speaks all over the world. And she is the best-selling author of a new book. So she will not be on next Tuesday because she's having a book talk on healthy sexuality and when to teach your children healthy sexuality. But tonight's topic is returning to life after the pandemic. So if you have questions, please post them in the comment. And I'm going to read the first one we have. We have one that says, from Song Go, what are people predicted to struggle with when it comes back to work and interacting with people?
That's a great question, Dennis. We're going to find a lot of probably increased anxiety as well as
Mm.
just getting back to normal structure because basically the pandemic disrupted structure. And
Mm.
so as we go back to more structured and scheduled lifestyles, we're going to find a struggle with that. It's going to increase anxiety for some, depression for others. Others might celebrate and be so grateful to be structured and feel more productive in that structured environment,
Yes.
especially for kids. We're really concerned about how that's going to impact perhaps teenagers and kids who basically, when the education system shut down, all structure kind
Mm.
of went out the window unless parents were able to organize that in their homes. So we're concerned that we're just going to see adjustment disorder issues as we move back into more structure.
So what would be your advice for parents or even adults that are having these structure issues or challenges?
Well, I think it's going to be important that they talk about it. It's going to be
Mm.
important that we really try to get back to normalcy as much as possible,
Yeah.
especially with parents and children. It's going to be important to talk about it, let them express their feelings, explain why it's so important that we go back to those connections, those structures, those involvements that we used to have, because all of that's going to be so beneficial for everyone.
It is. It is. All right, so let's move on to our next question because we want to keep this under 15 minutes because we know your time is valuable, but we will be doing this every Tuesday therapy. But again, next week we will not because Dr. Christy Kane is speaking in Cedar Fort Publishing and Media on healthy sexuality. So how would you suggest, this is from Jess underscore SCHROE, that anybody with the pandemic, dealing with the vaccine, the mask, etc., and how to go about that? How do we navigate that?
It would be great if we can move away from those conversations and talk about the other conversations that connect us. I think the vaccine and masks, depending on the person, can be a trigger. So it's really important that we start talking about
Mm.
where you're going to go on vacation. What have you painted? What's your new hobby?
Mm.
What's exciting in life? What recent book have you read? Many, many times when there's a uh, sticky topic, all we have to do is shift the conversation to say, I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about what are you going to do on vacation and what's new that you've learned. Without
Yeah.
offending someone, we can shift conversations.
So we have a comment that says, especially because we will be wearing masks in the school until next year. But her comment before that is she works in the middle school in Washington State and has noticed that students are more self-isolated. How do you help them in, actually, you have a whole program about this. This is a whole other subject. So we have to be brief with this, but maybe we can do another segment on how you're working with schools with an app that will just kind of
Yeah.
keep it under wrap. And you can reach out to Dr. Christy Kane through Instagram to find out more about that, especially in school systems. So anyway, she'd like to know, how can you help them socialize?
So even if they've got to wear masks, it's important, especially in the educational system, we start holding encounter conversation groups so that they can do things together. And we encourage them to get physical connection. So 8 hugs a day for 8 seconds with people that are safe and it's appropriate. We can have round circles in classrooms and break them into more smaller groups of conversation and get kids talking about all the things that kids want to talk about, even if they're wearing a mask. Human connection is
Yes.
so important.
So just to be brief, the reason why you're not seeing your questions up there on the screen is when I'm reading them to you is because we didn't start it at the exact time we set the timer to start. So normally you would be seeing the questions that we would be replying to, and I apologize about that. So let's move on to another question we had from Same Something. They say, Dr. Kane, I was quarantined. I just laid in bed and read Gothic novels and didn't move anywhere. And she says, part 2, or he, I don't know, I'm sorry. I find myself isolating again. Oh, please, not again. How do I make better use of my time?
You know, that's probably a question that all of us ask because structure tends to increase effectiveness of time. And all of us, I think, struggle to figure out how to manage our time when there is no structure. What I would say to this person who is reading these novels, A, I hope they read something really enjoyed. And B, I wouldn't give up novel reading, but I would structurally engage in all the things that you used to do in the past while still sharing whatever it is you're reading. So go back
Yes.
to your lifestyle prior to the pandemic.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So the last question that we have is, what if you're afraid to return to normal?
You know, perhaps we should do better than normal. I argue that it's time we move away from being garage door communities and that we spend more time connecting. So if you're afraid to turn back to normal, then what can you do that will be better than normal? Because biologically, humans need connection. Our brains
Yeah,
release oxytocin when we spend time together, and that's one of the most
yeah,
powerful neurotransmitters we can have.
yeah.
So let's be
So
better than normal.
yeah, let's be better. So again, we'll post not next week, but the following week when we're going to go live, and you can submit your questions. And then what we'll do is let's give Dr. Kane a lot of hearts and a lot of thank yous in the comments for donating her time and her medical license to be able to speak to all of you. So we will save this as IGTV. And we will, I will send it to Dr. Christy Kane as well, so she can upload it as IGTV. As long as we keep it under 15 minutes, we can do that. So, Dr. Kane, I guess we're going to say sending love and light your way.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Will do. Bye for now. Thank you.